Hi, thank you for watching. My name is Jessica Jersak, and this is Elizabeth, Anna, and Abby with the University of Tennessee's FRUVED research study. So this assessment is going to be how you take somebody's height. So the first step is to ask your participant to remove her socks and shoes. Would you always want to have a chair or a stool there so that they can lean on it or put their clothing on that? And you also need a wall-mounted stadiometer, which you can see in the background here. So then you'll ask your participant to step onto the stadiometer, facing out towards you. And the researchers will move to the side. And when we do a height assessment, you want 4 points of the participant's body to touch the back of the stadiometer, and that would be the back of the heels, the buttocks, the shoulder blades, and the back of the head. And then the participant will take a deep breath in, arms down at her sides, and during that inhale they slide down the slider, and then she'll exhale and breathe normally, and that's when they will look at the number and take the measurement in centimeters, and you record to the nearest tenth of a centimeter.
4.
Okay. So then you can slide the slider back up, remove, and you will do it one more time. Repeat the same measurement, have her step back in, 4 points touching, feet together a little bit. Good. Deep breath in, and slide it down. Exhale, breathing normally. And record the number again. If the two measurements are not within 2/10 of a centimeter, then you need to repeat and do a third measurement. For the weight assessment, the instrument would be a research-grade calibrated digital scale, and it needs to be placed on a non-carpeted flat surface. The first step in the weight assessment is to ask the participant to remove his or her shoes and socks. You also want to ask them to remove any excess bulky clothing, so sweatshirts, jackets, things like that. And then the participant will step on the scale facing away. Now hold very still. You get a reading to the nearest 10th kilogram. You record that on your sheet and ask the participant to step back off. The scale will zero, and then you repeat the measurement, asking them to step back on and recording the weight. All measurements for weight need to be within 0.2 kilograms of each other. Materials for the waist circumference measurement include a Gulick non-stretchy tape-resistant measure, a surgical marker that can be easily removed with hand sanitizer, a stool to place extra clothing and shoes on, and then a private area that's secluded from the rest of the room for privacy. So this is the protocol for the waist circumference measurement. You would like your participant to be in loose-fitted clothing. If they are in a dress, you should have extra t-shirts and shorts for them to change into. The first step would be to ask your participant to gently lift up their shirt to their belly button level. And then your researchers will feel on each side the lowest palpable rib and the top of the iliac crest. And with the surgical marker, you will mark halfway in between those 2 points. And that is generally the natural waist where the bend would be if she were to bend sideways. So you make those marks on both sides, and then you take your stretch-resistant tape, wrap it around the waist with the marks that you measured. And here you want your participant to be breathing normally. Take a couple deep breaths and then relax. You don't want them to be sucking in or extending their stomach outward, so just natural breathing. You need to keep the tape measure parallel to the ground on the marks, and you record the measurement to the nearest 10th of a centimeter. You're going to repeat this twice, so once you have your first measurement, you'll remove the tape measure and then re-wrap it around and measure again. And both measurements need to be within 1 centimeter of each other. If they are not, you must redo the measurement. Afterwards, you'll wipe off the marks that you made with hand sanitizer. For the hip circumference measurement, the only instrument that you need would be the stretch-resistant tape. You also need a stool to provide place for either sitting down or extra clothing to sit, and then also just to be in a private area so that the participant is comfortable where they're getting their measurement taken. So this is the procedure for the hip circumference measurement. It's very similar to the waist circumference, except the measurement will be taken around the widest part of the participant's buttocks. Special concerns with this measurement: you do not want to read the measurement right in front of the participant. You want to go on the side of their body near their hips so that you do not make them uncomfortable. It requires 2 researchers so that you can keep the tape parallel to the floor the entire time. You need it to be straight. And also, similar to the waist circumference, you will record your measurement to the nearest 1/10 of a centimeter. And once you do this measurement twice, both measurements need to be within 1 centimeter of each other, or you should repeat the measurement. For the neck circumference measurement, the only instrument needed is the stretch-resistant tape measure. For the neck circumference measurement, you are going to take the circumference around the Adam's apple of the neck. So you would ask your participant to swallow so you can gently feel where the Adam's apple is, and where it rests is where you're going to place the tape measure around. You may need to help hold the participant's hair up or back. If they can pull it up into a ponytail, then that would be helpful. And again, it takes 2 researchers so that you can have the tape parallel to the floor and you record within 1/10 of a centimeter. And the measurement should be done twice. For the blood pressure measurement, required materials would be a research-grade digital blood pressure monitor, a table to hold the monitor and the participant's arm, a chair for the participant to sit in, and a watch to measure 5 minutes before you actually take the measurement. So after the participant sits quietly for 5 minutes in a secluded area, you will ask him or her to put their elbow and their palm up on the table. You will use the appropriate blood pressure cuff. Feeling for their brachial artery, you will place the cuff around the arm. And then ask the participant to relax, and you will start the machine. You'll do this 2 times. The digital blood pressure monitor will restart on its own, and you record both measurements on the data collection form. Afterwards, you'll remove the cuff, and that will be all. The only instrument required for the image capture is a quality digital camera. The participant for the image capture will have a sheet of paper that has their state ID and their participant ID written in permanent marker on the top. You'll ask the participant to stand against a neutral colored wall and hold the piece of paper up about the height of their collarbone. And you'll ask them to have a pleasant expression, but not smiling or not frowning, kind of like your passport picture. You want to make sure the hair is out of their face and their forehead, and ask them to look at the camera. And in the frame of your camera, you need the top of their head and the frame of their shoulders to be in the picture. And you want to make sure that you get the top of their head, their shoulders, and the ID number in that picture. The fun part of the assessments is where the participant gets to play a game with Team Tomato. The first game is what we call the shell game, where the participant needs to try to figure out which cup our orange stress ball is under.
Or whatever ball you have. You ready?
Ready.
It is starting under the middle cup.
Okay.
Can we start over so that it doesn't look so bad?
I think it's still under the middle one.
Haha!
If the participant guessed incorrectly, they get a consolation prize. If she would have guessed the correct cup, she would get the grand prize, which right now is a FRUVED t-shirt. The second game that participants can play with Team Tomato is a race Team Tomato cup stacking game.
So in order to race, you each have to have your towers built 4, 3, 2, and 1. Many people already will know how to play this game. And then you are going to take down the tower into one single stack and then rebuild the entire tower. However, they can do it as fast as they can. And once you have the entire tower rebuilt, you are done. And the first person to have the tower completely built without falling over wins. Are you ready?
Ready.
Set. Oh wait, we have to start with our hands on the table. And Jess will count off for us.
Ready, set, go!
You work so much better than me. Stop.
Remember your grip.
Oh,
Sabotage.
If the participant beats Team Tomato in the race, they would get the grand prize. If they did not beat the dealer or the Team Tomato, they would get the consolation prize.